Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country.
Americans are taught that the people who once lived in what we now call America were stewards of the environment. They had
an ancient respect and connection to the land and water.
Disney movies made that their message.
I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name.
No, I don't think Native American hunters gave names to every rabbit in the woods around them. No, that's not a real thing that happened.
Political science professor Wilfred Reilly's new book is Lies My Liberal Teacher Told Me.
We've gone into almost this cult-like romanticization of the natives who were great warriors and poets, but I mean, who hunted buffalo by driving herds of them off of 100-foot-tall cliffs.
Yet government guides for teachers say Native Americans lived in harmony with nature. There was love of every form of life. They didn't kill anything they couldn't use.
That's just objectively untrue. I mean, that would mean no young male warrior, no brave ever killed for sport. I mean, we just know that's false.
I heard that. I believed it.
Well, I believed it too because I was 8.
The best-selling book, Lies My Teacher Taught Me, loved by teachers and students alike.
Reilly's new book is a response to this hugely popular book. It correctly points out that American textbooks and media portrayed Columbus simply as a hero.
Land out! Land out! Hooray for Admiral Columbus!
Textbooks ignored Columbus's brutality and enslavement of Indians. Columbus himself wrote about his slaves, saying, Indians make all our food, extract gold from the mines, and perform all other labors. The book was valid, right? Kids were being taught that Columbus is wonderful.
I don't necessarily think your focus should be white and native atrocities against one another in a 6th grade class.
Today, students are rarely taught that natives also took slaves and considered them objects of wealth.
The morality of today didn't exist anywhere in the world until about 60 years ago.
White people did murder the natives cruelly. What's the harm in sending a counter message?
You don't need a counter message. No one denies that whites and Native Americans killed each other. Sure, in 1970, in some southern schools, people might have been taught a jingoistic view of American history, but the reverse has been true for 40 years.
He says the old myths don't justify new ones, like the ones spread by today's social media influencers.
We know firsthand how to live in harmony with the natural world. In fact, we did so since time immemorial.
In reality, natives manipulated their environment. To make farming easier, they set big forest fires to clear land.
Giant forest fires. You're burning alive hundreds of thousands of small animals, slower running deer. You're probably killing members of other tribes. You're modifying the environment more bluntly.
U.S. government curriculum guides also claimed there was no prejudice, no major wars.
Nonsensical. In the Aztec capital, there were 90-foot towers of human skulls that were brought back from their defeated enemies.
Some tribes even practiced cannibalism, eating enemies they killed.
But still I cannot see if the savage one is me.
Yet the myth of peaceful natives lives on.
You don't know.
You're looking at people saying the absolute opposite of reality. When myths persist despite obvious objective reality, that's an indicator of a kind of brain virus among people who want the myth to be real.
Why does the myth of peaceful, harmonious living among Indians versus uniquely evil oppression by Europeans live on?
All this to me is just downstream from Marxism.
Marxism? Well, it is true that at colleges today, the most assigned economist is Karl Marx. Students are taught that Western values are bad. Critical race theory amplifies that.
White Americans have more because of racism.
Critical race theory is communist theory with the rich man replaced by the white man.
Westerners and white people being so evil. Why is it so popular?
I think that a lot of rich people don't like their father. There is a lot of dislike for our society among people who are pretty near the leadership class.
I think the people who teach these myths mean well. They want minorities to feel included. But teachers should at least also teach that America's sins were not unique, that just about every society had slavery, cruel wars, and environmental destruction. The seldom taught good news is that in the last century, the West led the world in making things better.
The Geneva Convention saying that you can't abuse prisoners of war who tried to kill you, the last of those was signed in, I believe, 1949.
Most of the world is getting better, and the much maligned capitalist countries now are largely responsible for lifting people out of poverty and protecting the environment. They ought to teach that. And if you want to hear more about how the world is getting better, here's a video I made about that. And if you want to help us spread that good news, click that button.